Hi there, my name is Matt Thielen, and I'm the owner of Thielen Photography, along with my wife Tara. We've been in business since 2005. For many years, we primarily photographed weddings up in Lake Tahoe and all around the world, really. But in the last few years, we've decided we wanted to open a local photography studio here in downtown Carson, where we can focus on family photography, senior photography, pet photography, professional headshots. We do everything here at the studio, or we also photograph outside. Our studio is located on the Main Street, downtown Carson City, on the corner of Telegraph and Main Street. We're at 319 North Carson Street. We're on the second story right above Kim Lee's Sushi. And what I wanted to talk to you today about is how to make better photographs with your phone of your real estate listings. I think the number one thing I can think of that would help is light. And what I mean by that is paying attention to the light that you're photographing in. Here in northern Nevada, in the Sierras, we have nuclear light. And what I mean by that is we have really high contrast light. So making photographs in the middle of the day isn't necessarily the best thing. You should always wait until the sun is either going down over the mountains or early in the morning before the sun, not necessarily before it comes up, but when the light's a little bit softer. So just to give you an example of what I mean by that, this is middle of the day light. Actually, the sun's kind of behind me, so it's creating that sun flare right there, right over my face. But if I just back up and I go into what we call open shade, I'll just back up, then all of a sudden we have this more even lighting. And that will make your photographs of your homes, the exteriors of your homes, that much better. Just paying attention to the light and photographing in a more even lighting situation. Okay, so let's take a look at a few photographs here just to demonstrate some differences in the types of light I'm talking about. So this is kind of that harsh overhead lighting. We do have nice blue sky, but really it's kind of hard to see the landscaping and some of the details of the house. So if we wait a little bit into the evening, we get this photograph, which we lose the blue sky, but we have all this detail in here where people can see that the doors, the windows, the porch, they could see the walkway, and it just has a lot more detail of the house. And ultimately what we're selling is the house. Here's another example. I see a lot of photographs like this. So this is very similar to that video where with the sun flare. So the sun is kind of behind, it's mid-afternoon, a little bit later afternoon. The sun is behind the house, and this property would be much better photographed either earlier in the day, like before the sun kind of peeks out over the mountains, or later in the afternoon, or even on an overcast day. So here's the photograph on the overcast day. Yes, we don't quite have the bluish sky, but the sun is kind of diffused by the clouds, and we can see more detail in the house, and we don't have that weird kind of flare coming into the camera. Now, obviously, you can't always wait for an overcast day, but flat lighting, that open shade, is kind of what I'm talking about here. So here's an example of another property. This is kind of that midday, harsh light, and I don't think it looks necessarily great. These hard shadows kind of really bring out the flaws in the siding and things like that. Whereas if we do this on a more diffused kind of lighting situation, then we have
a much more evenly lit photograph, if that makes sense. And this one is a good example of some of the houses on the, either up in a forest or on the west side of Carson, that where we have all these big trees with this spotty light where you kind of can't see the details in some of the landscaping and some of the walls. So if we wait for that more even lighting situation, then we have something more like this, where we can now see under the porch, we can see over here, we can see the nice green grass. Um, there's not such high contrast light here. So it in my opinion, it's just a much better photograph.
All right, I hope that helps. Uh, Remember, light is the most important consideration for your photographs. Um, so pay attention to where it's coming from, what time of day you're photographing your properties, and also the quality of the light. If it's low contrast like I'm in low contrast light right now, it just softens everything up. Or if it's that high contrast nuclear light that we get here in northern Nevada and the Sierras, or the spotty light. Remember that this kind of low contrast light, flat lighting can really help with the spottiness in some of these the properties with lots of trees around. So pay attention to that, and I'll save the interior photographs for maybe another time. That's a little bit more complicated. Cell phones don't really have a great advantage in photographing interiors. And quite frankly, if you have kind of a higher end property, you're probably going to be hiring a professional photographer anyway, to make those interior photographs look nice with that balance of color and light. So yeah, I hope that helps. And again, my name is Matt Thielen. My wife's name is Tara, and we have our studio right in downtown Carson, Thielen Studios. Give us a call if you ever need any photographs. We're around. And I look forward to meeting you guys in person, hopefully sometime. All right.